Hello and welcome back to Overbooked. I'm Amanda, and today we're gonna tier rank all of my 2021 reads. I saw Persue Project. Oh shit, who did I see do this? Yeah, Persue Project. There you go. I don't remember her actual name, but I saw her do a video like this, and I thought that was a really good idea to go through everything, all the books that I read. And honestly, when I was saving all the pictures for this, I was like, oh yeah, I remember reading that now. I also don't know about you, but it's like I like looking back at the books I read just because I know exactly what I was doing at that time while I was reading that book. And it's like, oh yeah, I was on a road trip when I was reading that book. Or, oh yeah, I was cleaning my bathroom when I was listening to that audiobook. Both are interesting memories. That's what we're going to do today. And I have my tier ranking up. Here we are. So I made this tier chart. Like I said, I got this from Persue Project. But these are all the books I read. Oh, Dear Edward's on there twice. But these are all the books I read. Oh, that one's on there twice too. Oops. Okay, so the first book that my Goodreads says I read last year in my 2021 reading challenge is The Bride Test, which is not correct, but whatever. So The Bride Test. I would say probably solidly good. I didn't think it was great, but I didn't think it was bad. It was a good read. The next book is like Everybody Looking, which I read for the stacks, which I don't know if I would have read on my own. And honestly, if that wasn't for the stacks, I might have not kept going. Not that, which makes it seem like I should be like, but it was good. The only thing is like, I hate trying to critique YA books, and that's what this was. And it was written in like poetry verse or kind of like how Clap When You Land is written. And I don't know, I couldn't get into it. So I don't know, but I know it was good, if that makes sense. Always Only You. Oh my God, I am so bad. They're all gonna be, this is why I am so bad at reviewing books, because I always am like, oh, well, it was good. There was nothing bad about it. But this one was solidly good, I would say. A Terrible Thing to Waste, Environmental Racism, and the Assault on the American Mind was a great read. Don't know if it was like one of my favorites, but it was so good. So definitely putting it up there. The Incineraries is next, which I wish I could put in between solidly good and disappointing. It just wasn't what I thought it was going to be so good. But it was, I don't know, it was lacking something. I don't know what it was. I did like it, and it was interesting. I also read it as an audiobook, which I think played into not liking it as much because like you kind of change viewpoints quickly, or sometimes I didn't understand who was talking or who we were hearing from, which I think I would not have had that problem while reading the physical book. So I was more disappointed than when I enjoyed, because I wanted a good cult book, you know? Shrill is definitely a favorite. I was not expecting to like that one as much as I did, and I loved it. Loved it so much. That one was really good. How the One-Armed Sister Sweeps Her House. I think that one was solidly good. I thought that one was really good. I think it's like borderline in between great read and good. That one was good. I think it just needed like, I don't even know it. I don't know. This is so hard. I'm going to leave it in solidly good. A Promised Land. I don't know if I should put in disappointing or solidly good. That's right in between. I can't do Barack Obama dirty. I think that somebody should have told Barack Obama, hey, let's cut a third of this book out. And that would have been great, because it is a 29-hour audiobook. And that's how I checked it out. And I only had 21 days to read it. So almost every waking moment when I had this book was listening to A Promised Land, listening to Barack Obama's voice, which is not awful, but it's also, after 21 days, just really gets really old. Not everything I think that he talked about there was interesting or needed, but whatever. Aftershocks, and this is going to be bad. I'm so sorry. I just didn't like it as much as I thought I was going to. I think this was a Book of Sense pick, which is not on her, whatever. I think I've seen this book must be coming up somewhere else because I've seen it a lot recently. I think some other book club might have picked it up or something. Or I mean, it was good. Obviously she's an amazing writer, and you can tell that when she's writing it. And she has a very interesting life to talk about. I just don't know what it was. I couldn't get into it. I just really struggled through that one. I don't know what it was. The Making of Asian American History was solidly good. That one was pretty long. I also listened to it as an audiobook. But I learned a lot of great things from that book. The Women of Copper Country, or The Women of the Copper Country. I'm going to put it in disappointing just because I wanted it to be better. And that was kind of that. The Tradition. So I read this for the stacks. It's a book of poetry. I don't usually read poetry. So I know it was good, but I also don't know. I have nothing to compare it to. I have nothing to really base my claim off of. And I feel, I know this is probably, I shouldn't talk about myself this way, but I feel dumb while reading poetry because I know I'm missing a ton of stuff that's probably like symbolized or is hinted at, and I just don't catch it. I don't get it. That's how I feel about that one. Ooh, okay. Elderly Lady is up to no good. This one, you guys, was so good. So good. I loved this book. It was so good. Such a short book. I read it in an afternoon. It's literally like, it looks like almost like how like children's books are made. It's like a little square, and it's honestly, it's just a nice comfort read. It's so good. Heartberries. I would say that was a great read. That was a really good memoir. There was a lot of great lines in that one that really struck a chord, and she's obviously an amazing writer. Let's see. Okay. Cass, get up there. Take your spot. It needs to be in front. That one was Isabel Wilkerson could write anything. I swear to God, this one was so good. Voices from Chernobyl. I would say was solidly good. It was not as good as I thought it was going to. So I guess it's disappointing. I should really be, just say it how it is. I would say it was not as good as I thought it was. That's why I'm putting it here. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it, but I thought I was going to like it more than I did. Fahrenheit 451. So I read this for my workbook club. And I've read this book before. I've read Fahrenheit 451 before. It's fine. What I will say is this is a really good book club pick, I think. It offered a ton of discussion points. We talked a lot about stuff that's talked about in the book, but I don't know if it's really like a book that I would like say this. Like, it was good, and I think it adds a lot. Like, it's definitely like a conversation starter. It's definitely a topic that I think we should all be aware of, like burning books and censorship. But it's just not for me. So it's not my cup of tea. Only Good Indians is next, and I'm gonna say solidly good. I don't want to put in or disappointing because I don't think that's fair to say. I think I was interested and it was a good book. It's just not the kind of book that I would usually read. I'm not into horror books, but I heard a ton of hype about it, and I wanted to check it out for myself, and I thought it was good. I thought it was a pretty good book. The Prophets. I'm gonna do it. Oh God, please don't kill me. I thought this one was going to be better than it was. I really did. I thought that this one was going to, I don't know. I wanted more from it. I will say, I'm only putting this here, I think, because I had such high expectations. I thought it was going to be amazing, and it just wasn't what I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I was going to, and I don't know. That's why I'm putting it there. It was a good book. Untamed. Finally. Something to put in no. I didn't like Untamed. Not at all. I didn't like it at all. That's it. Midnight in Chernobyl. I'm going to say It was very I liked it. I think this was one of the first books I read in 2021. And I feel like that first couple weeks of January, at least for me, and I definitely felt it this year, is like, what are books? What are reading? Like, it's just, that's how I feel. And I can barely pick up a book. And this just happened to be the book I picked up, which seems odd. Maybe I should have tried to pick an easier book. I was reading Midnight in Chernobyl, and I did not enjoy it as much as I thought I did. It was very I think what did it for me was there's just a lot of scientific terms in that book. So it's kind of hard to follow along if you don't know a lot about science, which that's not the whole part of the book, but I think for me that part was like over my head. His Only Wife, solidly good. Solidly good book. Only When It's Us, solidly good. I thought it was a solidly good book. It was a fun romance. It was good, but not like, wow, you know? Oh my God. Okay, I put on here, I didn't know I put this on here because I think I technically read the first chunk of it in 2020. War of the Other Sons, just as good. I don't know if even better is the right term, but they're just two amazing books. The Warmth of Their Sons, so great. Far Field, didn't like it as much as I thought I was going to. I wish I liked it more. Magic Hour, get over here. Get over here. It's a no. It's a no. It's a no. The Mermaid of Black Conch, which I don't know what Brenna, you actually watch all my videos. I know I just gave you this book, but I think you would like it more than I did. For me, it was very But I think this book would be good for people who like just like a odd, different kind of story. And that's what this was. And it was fascinating and interesting to read, but I didn't really get sucked into it like I thought I was going to. Good Feminism, great read. Great read, especially for a white woman as myself, because it's, yep, we also suck. It's not just white men. We also suck, and we need to get better. And Hood Feminism just like brings up so many good points that I think we all need to be reminded about. And yeah, I don't know. It was great. Secret Lives of Church Ladies. Yeah, that was a great book. Great book. Such a good collection of short stories. It was so good. The New Wilderness. I say, it was fine. Heart-shaped box. No. Boo. Heart-shaped box. No. We hated it. I'm sorry. I know. Please don't hate me. I just didn't. I will say this about Black Book, is I really turned the pages reading that. But there was just some things I didn't like about it. And I don't know. Yeah. This changes everything. It's very, honestly, and long. Very long book. Very long. But it was good. For the most part, there was some interesting stuff in there. It really shows you that this book really highlights that when a company says they're doing stuff for climate change and they are making these broad promises, that they're probably not going to follow through because nothing's tying them to these promises. And no one's really calling them out or really following up with them on these goals that they set. And if you really think about some of their promises, they don't make sense because it doesn't help them with their bottom line or their profits. So it's probably unlikely that they will ever follow through with them. Capitalism. I wish I could do the window or the rainbow that SpongeBob does. Lead from the Outside, I would say, was a great read. I read this for some professional development, and I got a lot out of it. Anxious People, a favorite, for sure. I loved that book. I love Frederick Bachman, though, so I knew it was going to be good. On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous, I would say it was solidly good. I enjoyed it, and it was good. It was good. The Undying. I would say, because I thought it was going to be better than it was, and I had a hard time getting through this book. So, Blacktop Wasteland, solidly good. Very good book. It was good. Something to Talk About. Disappointing. I had such high hopes for this one. I really did. And I don't know, I didn't like it as much as I thought I was going to. Beach Read. Great read. I'll say great read. Great read for Beach Read. It was good. I am an Emily Henry fan through and through now. I loved it. The Four Winds. I don't know if I should put it in or solidly good. I guess solidly good. I enjoyed this one, but I had some issues with it, and I don't know. But it was good. It was good for the most part. Claire and the Sun. You know what? I'm going to move it to solidly good because I didn't really have any expectations for this book. And I didn't really know if I was going to like it. I saw it on like Obama's list. And then I also saw it like all over Bookstagram. So I was like, oh, I kind of want to check it out. And I'm not really into like sci-fi novels or whatnot, which I would say this might be light sci-fi. So I enjoyed it more than I thought. I don't know if I should have gone out of my way to pick it up. Like I wasn't like, oh my God, I'm so glad I picked this up. But I liked it more than I thought. And yeah, there's that. The Best We Could Do. This book was so good. This book was so good. I don't usually read graphic memoirs or graphic novels, but this book was so good. And this is why, like, I know while following along with like a book club, sometimes there's going to be some things that you just don't like because that's how it is. Like they pick a wide range of books. So this is from the stacks, and there are some books I didn't super enjoy from the stacks that are on here, like The Undying. But The Best We Could Do is a book that I would have never picked up. Never. I don't even know if I would have heard of it. And I loved that book. I loved it so much. Everyone should read that book. It was so good. Okay, so The Office of Historical Corrections. Probably, honestly, I don't know if it would be a favorite or great read. Maybe a great read. That one was really good. That was a really great short story collection. It was really good. So good. Sharks in the Time of Saviors. This one was definitely a favorite. I have to say shout out to Rachel. She's one of my good friends, my good online friends. I love her. She wanted to read this as a buddy read. I took off without her. My bad. But I'm so glad she told me to read this. I don't know if I would have read it without her prompting me to. And it was so good. So good. Could not recommend it highly enough. Could not recommend it more enough. 7 Days in June. This one I would say was a great read. I loved this one. That one was such a good book. Only Plane in the Sky, I would say was a great read. That was a good one. Really tough. I'm going to be honest with you. That one was really tough to get through as well. But like emotionally, mentally, because especially as an audiobook, because I know the voices, like the audiobook does different voices for different people. And I know it's not the people who are saying it, but they're reading like their perspective and stuff like that. And it is really hard to hear that. So The Only Plane in the Sky is about 9/11. So it's an oral history of 9/11. And it was pretty hard at sometimes to get through. And so I will just say that if you're going to read it, just be prepared to maybe take some breaks. But otherwise, I really loved it. I did not think I was going to like it as much as I did. 9 Perfect Strangers, another great read. I didn't think I was going to like that one as much as I did. And it was, wow, it was good. It was a good one. From the Ashes is a memoir that I've been seeing around lately again. I've been seeing it pop up more, so that's good. I thought it was solidly good, and I thought it was a really important story to share. It's a memoir, so I shouldn't say like story, I guess, but this person's story to share, and I really enjoyed it. Fast Girls. So disappointing. So Fast Girls was just sad. I don't know. It was so disappointing. I really wanted this one to be good. It wasn't. It's almost borderline no. It was not great. Bird Summons. This is not disappointing. It was just eh. It was just eh for me. I thought it had some interesting things that came up, and I think this would have been a great book to discuss as a book club, which it was. It was for the Book of Sens. So I think this was a great book club pick because there was a lot to discuss, but it was just very eh for me. Long Petal of the Sea. Eh. I just didn't like how there wasn't very much character development in this book. And it just, I don't know. And that maybe is a personal preference because I really like a character development story. And I just felt like this book is like a love letter to the two countries it's about. And I felt like I saw more character development from the countries than I did from the characters. I don't know. I don't want to get too much into it because obviously we have more books to go. So it was just eh. But I liked it. It just was not as good as I thought it was going to be. Girls Burn Brighter. Get up here. Let's go. You know where you belong. I don't know why I don't see a lot of people talking about this book. It was so good. It was so good. So good. It was amazing. Redefining Realness. Again, an amazing book. Amazing. I can't. It was so good. So this is, I feel bad about this one because I think that I did this book dirty, and I almost feel like I should maybe check out the physical book and try again at some point, because I listened to this as an audiobook and I listened to it the week before my wedding, where my mind was just not in it. I was so stressed out to the max trying to get stuff ready for work to be gone for a week, and then I was just stressed to the max about my wedding that I just did not absorb, I think, a lot of stuff from this book. Half the time I was reading it, I was just like, what? Like, I don't know. I didn't care. But I think this book would be an excellent book club pick. I think this book would be so good. It's about like immigration, like there's a magical realism to this, like where there's doors people physically walk through to like leave countries, and then they're refugees in another country because they walk through this door and they're somewhere else. And I think that just would have been such a good conversation to have with a group of people. I think that would really get people thinking. I think it would be great. The New Jim Crow, solidly good, a little heavy, hard to get through, definitely written like a nonfiction book, which it is, but there's a lot of nonfiction books that I love because they're written, you know, like a thriller or something. But this one was really important to read, had a lot of good, important information in there, and it was still good. It was still good, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't like a great read to me, but I thought it was really good. Running, I read this for one of the prompts of the Reading Women Challenge, and one of the prompts was to read a YA book, which when I think I talked about some of the books that I think I forced myself to read, this was one of them. I think I should have just, I didn't finish the Women Reading Challenge anyways. I think I should have just skipped the YA prompts. I'm just not a huge YA fan. I just can't get into them. They have to be like, I have to really connect with them or really love them to get into it. Otherwise it's just kind of like, I don't know. But this one was just, I thought it offered a lot of good discussion and conversation still. It was an interesting perspective because it's like the child of somebody running for president, and they're Democratic and their father is Republican. So it's just an interesting dynamic. I don't know. It was interesting. Undercover bromance. I wish there was something in between and solidly good. I'll put it in eh. I really liked the Bromance Book Club or something. I think that was the first one. I really liked that one. This one, I think it had some stuff I just didn't really like about it, and but I still enjoyed it. I still enjoyed reading it. So I don't know, but it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. I didn't enjoy it as much as I liked the first one. I think I'll probably still finish the series eventually. The Color of Law was solidly good. That's another one where I would say it's a little bit more heavily written and a little harder to get through, for me at least, but it was really good. A lot of like just interesting information in there that's important to know. Solidly good. Passing. So good. Probably one of my favorites this year. So good. I just had a book club that I hosted for this book, and it was so good. It was such a good discussion. Even the people who didn't really like the book had great points to bring up, and we talked about this book for like 2 hours. It was so good. And I read this for like, I'm trying to follow along with a Netflix book club online, and I don't know if I would have, well, Tracy from the Stacks has it as her book club pick right now, so I think I would have eventually read it, but because of that, but without it being selected as a book club pick, I would have missed it. And I'm interested, so if you're watching this, let me know if you read Passing in high school, because I almost feel like this is a good book that you should like, that should have been read in like at least like AP Lit or some kind of English class, because I just felt like there was so much symbolism and stuff, and it's like, Jesus, can we stop reading The Great Gatsby and read something else? Like this, I think this one would have been so, it would have been so good to discuss as a high schooler. I don't know, it's just really just interesting. So good. Let's see, am I covering up books now? Yeah, let me see. All right, so Nothing to See Here was so good. That was definitely a favorite, for sure. My library picked this book out for me. I did like a little survey online, and I wanted to see what they'd pick for me, and they picked this one and then The Color of Law. But yeah, I would never have picked this up because I hate this cover. Don't judge a book by its cover, folks. It was so good. Next year in Indiana. Very very. Maybe I'll start putting them over here because I know my cam's over here. I didn't like it. I didn't like it as much as I thought I was going to. The Song of Achilles. Book 2. Please do not hate me for putting this book here. Okay. I know The Song of Achilles is very special to a lot of you. I know. Please forgive me. The Song of Achilles was good. It was good. Obviously, it was written well. It's beautiful writing, like lyrical almost. That I was just, wow. I was like, wow, this is blowing my mind away. I don't know. I don't know much about Greek mythology or whatever that stuff is. I don't know anything really about it. So to me, I'm not like, oh yeah, like that's that guy. Like I have no knowledge. So it's hard for me to connect with it. And then I don't know. I just couldn't connect with the story really. But like I said, it was beautiful. I will give it that. But it was just, nah. Dear Edward, a favorite, probably. You know what? I'll say Great Reads instead, actually. Just because, I don't know. I loved this book. I love Dear Edward. I'd say it's almost a favorite. It was so good. And this is one of the books I came back to the Girly Book Club, now known as The Gloss. It was so good. It was really good. And yeah, this is my thing. So like I said, I read this for a book club. I don't know if this was a great book club read. Like, I don't know. There was a lot of questions at the, so when we go to this book club, we have like a leader and she reads the questions because she started our chapter of this book club. But the Gloss, I think, provides her these questions. And the questions were good and it made me think about the book more. But I just, I don't know. I don't really know if this is a story to dissect, because it's just about somebody's grief. And I don't really know if you need to discuss and like question grief. I don't know. I don't know if it was a great book club pick, but I think that it was a really great book. It was really good. Emergency Contact was solidly good. And this is a YA book. So I think it's new adult or something. There's, I guess, a category that's like new adult that's between YA and adult. I think that's what this one is. But it was good. I didn't love it. Like, I didn't think it was amazing, but I thought it was good. Take a Hint, Danny Brown was solidly good. That's just a solidly good book. It was amazing. I liked it. I loved Danny. I loved Zaf. It was a really good one. Act Your Age. Again, book 2, please don't hate me. Eve Brown was for me. I don't know what it was. All the Danny sisters, or all the Brown sisters were just so good. And I loved Danny and I loved Chloe. And I did love Eve. I did. But I just don't know. I just didn't like it as much as I liked the other ones. And I just was kind of disappointed. Oh, that's not even the next book I was supposed to talk about, but it's there. I don't know. Waiting to Exhale was I'm gonna put it, I guess, an eh. It was good. It was really good, but there was a lot of things I didn't like about it. I read this for the Stacks Book Club, and I got a lot more out of listening to that episode where they talk about this book than I did when I read it. I liked a lot of things about this book, but there was a lot of things I didn't like. I think it was too long for one thing, which was, I think that's what really did the for me. I want to be very clear, probably more than disappointing. And I think I made this very clear in my wrap up as well. As a white woman, I know this was not written for me, and that's not what I had an issue with. And I loved the aspect of the friendship between the women in this book, but the fat phobia and then like the too long of a book, just, I don't know. Those were a lot, like, huge factors for me for putting it in this category. Should I put Anna here? She probably does deserve to go there for all the hate I've given her. I read Anna Karenina, and she was hard to get through. Not gonna lie. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say. How Beautiful We Were. Great read. Great. Still thinking about it. It was so good. So good. What Storm, What Thunder? Solidly good. Solidly good book. Almost probably a great read. You know what? I'll put it in there because What Storm, What Thunder did is what I think I wish all of the books I read did, is you get the perspective from every character. And I love that. I love that in a book because it gives you such a full story. I love it so much. I love it. People we meet on vacation. Listen, I don't know. I don't know if this makes me a basic bitch. I almost want to put this in my favorites. I really do. And I think I might because this one was so good. It was so good. It was just like, I think I said this before. It was like comfort food. It was just nice. And it was, I know this is not like a literary novel. It wasn't genius by any means. But I don't know what it was about this book, but it was so good. It was really good. The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. Great read. I got one of my friends to read this book and she loved it. So shout out to Brunna Carberry for starting this trend, and shout out to Shannon Tell for trusting my recommendation to read this book. So it's a really good book. Malibu Rising is a book that I finished like the first day of January, so don't judge. It was a great read. Malibu Rising was so good. I recommend wholeheartedly. And these are 2 books I've already read, put in here. Wow. Look at this. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed going through these books. And yeah, I had a good time. This was actually more fun than I thought it was going to be. It really makes me think about the books I read last year and really like what the reasons were why I read them. So that was good. It was good. I liked this. This was fun. I think this might be a tradition that I start because this was good. If you've read any of these, please let me know in the comments below what some of your favorites or some of your great reads were, or if you think that I should have put a book somewhere else, so please let me know. I'd love to hear from you, and make sure you like this video if you did and subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you guys next time.